Okay, so talk to me about what you've heard.
Okay, well, about you and the life coaching?
Yes.
Okay, well, I've only heard good things. Shanice hasn't really told me so much about, like, you per se, but sometimes she'll tell me about some of the topics that you guys speak about, and I'm always like, oh, my God, Shanice, that's exactly what I was thinking, or something that maybe we had a conversation about, prior. So I know one thing that kind of stuck out to me that she was telling me about was, like, the law of attraction.
Uh-huh.
And I really think that that's something I need to kind of look up and kind of study because, I mean, it makes a lot of sense that what you put out into the universe is what you receive back. And I have a really big problem with negative thinking, especially where my love life is involved. So.
Okay. So, and that sounds great. So good. We could definitely dive into that. But I just kind of wanted to kind of tell you exactly what I do.
Okay.
As a life coach, because a lot of people compare it to like counseling and therapy and psychology, like all of those things. But the biggest difference is I don't really give advice, right?
Okay.
That's the biggest difference. My job is to help you tap into what's already inside of you. So in other words, how I like to say it, and this is my personal belief, who am I to tell you what's best for you if I don't know you?
Right.
Right? So my job is to help you figure out what's best for you.
Okay.
And I do that through listening deeply, so I listen to everything, I take notes. So I listen deeply and I ask powerful, open-ended questions to kind of co-create a space and help you realize that you kind of already knew that anyway. You know what I'm saying? So this is not really about me telling you you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. That's not what I do. That's not what life coaching is.
Great. I'm glad.
Yeah. Because, again, who am I to tell you that,
Right.
So, again, my job is, so I do ask a lot of questions, a lot of powerful, open-ended questions, and I do reflect back what you say, a lot of what you say, just so you can hear it coming from somebody else, too.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So I know in the text message you said you don't know what you want to talk about. Is there a place you want to start, or you just kind of want to go?
Let's just kind of go because sometimes I can be really guarded. So sometimes I draw a blank when I have to kind of just open up for the first time with somebody. So
okay, no, that's okay.
Yeah.
So let me start with this then. What area of your life would you like to improve the most?
Oh my God. Well, I would say the most would be I guess the most would be career.
Okay.
Right now, I work at a lawn maintenance landscape company. I'm the office manager there. It's not really something that I see myself doing forever because I'm more of like an artistic type of spirit. Like I like makeup and I like fashion and I like to make wigs and, things like that. It's like I've always been in an administrative type of role, but it's not really a passion.
Got you. Okay, so if you could create, like ideally, if you could create your own job right now, what would that be?
If I could create my own job right now, I would like to be a image consultant.
Okay. Okay, so even where you are now, right, because you are where you are and that's okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what would be like one of the first steps you could take to moving in that direction?
One of the first steps that I could take, which I have a very hard time with it because I'm a procrastinator, is, just kind of putting myself out there. Like I'm already very good with makeup. I already make wigs, and I could start by making it like a side thing and, kind of networking on Instagram and other things. But I don't, just because I'm like, I think too much into how am I going to really get the funds to get it off the ground with, all the things that I'm already paying for. It's like I always find an excuse to not start.
Okay. So, and I'm going to kind of navigate back and forth, right? Because since you brought up the law of attraction, I'm going to kind of navigate between that and what we're talking about, okay?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because really, and with the law of attraction, it's really about the point of attraction. It's like what you're feeling at that moment is what you're going to get. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So your point of attraction as it relates to the procrastination and overthinking and all of that is lack, right? So it's like lack of, whether it's lack of resource, lack of money, lack of all of these things. So your point of attraction as it relates to this is lack, which means you will get more situations to make you feel lack.
Right.
So our job will be to kind of flip that, So how do we flip that and not focus on the lack, but focus on the other side of it? So you see where I'm going?
Right.
So, and like I said, I'm just going to go in and out of it, and then we'll come full circle.
Okay.
So one thing that you could do, you said you could put yourself out there more, right?
Mhm.
Okay. What else can you do?
I guess aside from that, I've done a whole lot of research regarding things like that and how to get started. I'm all into like the e-boutique classes and the 101 wig making. Like I've done most of those things, but I guess with what I do have, I probably could start getting supplies and things that I would need to get started because it's really not that expensive. I just always want like the full Monty if I'm going to do something. So I don't have like the mentality to, okay, start from the bottom and then build gradually. I always have these great big dreams, and that's how I envision, it being from start to finish. It's like when I kind of think like that I have to scale back to just at least get started, I guess I won't really say I lose interest because I don't, but it's just like I say to myself, oh, well, I guess I need to save and I'll just work harder or I'll get a second job. I just don't stay, I don't stick with the dream and kind of focus and work on what I need to do to build it gradually.
Right. So you see how, again, all of that's lack?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you said, I don't have and I don't have and I don't have and I feel like I need to get in order to, like all of that.
Right.
And like, again, we'll come full circle, but that's the thing that I would like to work with you with is to start paying attention to, where you are as it relates to your feelings.
Right.
Okay. Because the law of attraction is really, people say you get what you think about, but it's really, really you get what you feel about. Because, yeah, everything starts with a thought, but after the thought, then there's a feeling. So you get what you.
Right.
So I'm seeing an opportunity where we could kind of, and I'll, definitely help you with, like, switching it or flipping it from lack to maybe abundance. And, we'll get there. I don't want to go too fast.
Okay.
Okay, so the first thing that you said was put yourself out there more. Then you said get some supplies because they're not that expensive. Mm-hmm. I like threes. So what's one more thing that you could do right now based on what is?
Okay, right now, and I've also brought up this idea to a few friends of mine, is to make wigs for them or units for them so that they could be, some free advertisement. But I haven't moved forward with that either. And really for no particular reason, because I have the time to do it. I just haven't really, I guess to them, I haven't really come at them as far as being really serious about it. I've brought up the idea and we've kind of toyed with it, but I've never said, okay, guys, I'm going to do this for you now, and then, y'all will be my walking advertisement. So that's definitely something else that I could do, because I have enough friends who love hair and fashion and all those things and that would love for me to, do things for them for free.
Right. Can I ask you a question that will connect the dots, connect a couple dots?
Okay.
Right? Because how did you get to me, right? How did we get to the point where we're having this conversation right
now? Okay, we got to this point because me and Shanice pretty much talk about everything, and when she tells me about maybe some of the conversations that y'all have had, and I kind of tap into those things and be like, oh, my God, I do have issues with procrastinating, and maybe I do need somebody to, point these things out to me so that once I hear them from an outside source, I can know that it's real. It's not just something in my mind or in my own way. I think I'm prioritizing my life when really I could be just mentoring myself from, being an entrepreneur and doing my own thing.
Right. And I said that to say, see, your friend is how we got here. That's the point.
Right.
You see how I'm connected the dot to the third thing
that
you said? Right.
Right.
See, we wouldn't be here, and it didn't cost me anything. I just was doing my job, and doing my job got you here.
Right. Yeah.
You see? So I just want to offer a real life and a real time situation, that involves all of us based on what the third thing that you just said.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about this for a second. So, because I want to talk about those three things, but first, you mentioned procrastination a few times. So what's holding you back? Like what's that about?
Okay. This is my issue with procrastination because I've been to prison for drug trafficking. And so I've only been home, let's see, February, about 9 months. So within these 9 months, I mean, I feel like I have accomplished a lot of things to just be doing everything on my own, but I always reflect back to everything that I've had prior. Like, as far as anything that I've ever wanted to do, it's always been, you know, no monetary issues. So, okay, if I want to open a store, I had the funds to just kind of do that, and I never really had a hustler's mentality, I would put it that way. Like, I was just a girlfriend of a drug dealer and kind of got caught in some stuff, and it completely turned my life upside down. So it's like now that I'm home, I have a lot of reservations about beginning things because, again, I go back to the issue of not having money behind me, you know. So it's like I'm afraid, I guess, to step out and fail. And that's in more aspects than just the business. That's like even in my love life, you know. So sometimes me being guarded, I keep a lot of things to myself, like even how you brought up the point that, you know, basically we got to this point from word of mouth, somebody else using your services, and I knew it would benefit me. So it makes sense that if I was to step out and do that, the same thing would come full circle with the businesses that I want to start. But then again, I'm so guarded, and I'm afraid to fail and for people to know that I fail, even if I feel like they care about me.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a second, because again, so I'm navigating again, right? So
okay.
your first point of attraction, and understand that point of attraction, it is what it is for everybody, right? So we get it regardless. So the first point of attraction was lack, right? And now what I'm hearing, the second point of attraction is fear, right? So once we get deep into the law of attraction, then I'll kind of, like I said, we'll stay there, and we'll grow there. But I just want you to, to see what's happening, and I'm just reflecting back with what is, because everything is either negative or positive, right? There's no gray area. Every word that we use is negative or positive. So based on your point of attraction, the two that you offered, where are you?
Definitely negative.
And that's okay. So let me ask you this question though. Because I get what you're saying about the money and, the girlfriend of a drug dealer not having to worry about money. So why do you, let me ask you this. Do you believe that everything happens for a reason? And it's not a trick question. I'm asking you what you believe.
Yeah, I actually do believe that.
Okay. So why do you think that all of this happened? And when I say all of this, meaning the going to prison and all of that, why, if you had to give it a reason, what would that reason be?
My reason would be, and it's because I'm Christian too, so I come from a religious standpoint on this one. I believe that it was a lot of reasons, more than just one. I feel like with this guy, he was like the end all to my be all, and I had been with him since I was 16 years old. This happened when I was about 25. So it was just like nothing or nobody came before this man and what he needed or what he wanted. So I feel like one of the reasons was to separate me from him in that situation, to learn who I am. And then also because I have two younger sisters, and it's like right now in this day and age with everything that's going on with social media, people idolize that fast lifestyle, and it's really not all it's cracked up to be. So I feel like maybe I went through that to have a story to share with girls who feel like that's the life to live when it's not. So I feel like it's just an abundance of things, because I really had in that relationship no individuality. It was like I was always a part of him and his world and his family. I never really got the opportunity to do the things that I wanted to do. And even the things that I wanted to do, I would place on hold if he needed me to do something else. So in a sense, I was really kind of like a puppet and kind of weak-minded because I was afraid to lose that relationship. And I guess in a way, it kind of goes deeper than that because I do have a little bit of abandonment issues because my grandmother raised me. So, and it's 5 of us. So out of all of my siblings, I'm the oldest, and my grandmother raised me. So I think it kind of comes to the point where I feel like we were together for so long, and I had to make it work like by any means necessary because I didn't want, once again, to fail at something and then feel like I was by myself.
Right, and it's so interesting, and I really appreciate your honesty and your, being open to all of this. I really, really do, because what you did, all of the reasons that you listed just now is really the flip side of it. It's the flip side of the lack, and it's the flip side of the fear, because then it comes to what you're choosing to focus on, right? Because I'm gonna play back what you said. This happened so I could learn who I am. How powerful is that, right? Because if that had not happened, you wouldn't even know who you are, and you wouldn't be in the process of getting better, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
But then now I have a story to tell, because I want to tell other young females that, the fast life is not it. So now I have a story to tell.
Right.
And one thing that I wrote down was maybe it was in God's plan for you to do it yourself anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it's so different when you do it yourself, and I know you know that, right?
Right.
It's just so much connected to that. So you see how the things that you just said are the flip side of the fear and the lack. It's just what you're subconsciously choosing to focus on.
Right.
Because that felt good, even though it felt good hearing it, meaning not that the situations was good, but the clarity that
Right. Wow. And I guess sometimes I never really think about that part of it. Like, even when I talk to Shanice and I tell her my story, she's like, oh, my God, you are just, like, such a strong woman and you're so resilient. And sometimes I bypass all of that. I'm like, girl. So sometimes I don't even realize the changes that have already occurred and how I've already begun to change, So I don't know,
That's okay. So let me be you for a second, okay? I'm going to be you and I'm going to play with some words, okay?
Okay.
Okay. I realized that I was a procrastinator, right? And before this conversation, that's just what it was. But now after I hear myself saying these things, it's easier for me not to procrastinate because the more I don't procrastinate, the more I learn about myself. I learn who I am. So the more I do is actually teaching me who I am, right? And then I really, really want to get to the point where I could share my story. And I really can't share my story procrastinating really because it's already done. I just need to kind of catch up with it, right? I need to keep moving forward in order to get to that space where I can share my story. So you see how I'm playing with the words, but it's really the flip side of it.
Right. Because the way you said it is so positive. Everything sounded so good.
Well, and it's kind of the truth. I mean, I would like to think that it's connected to your truth anyway.
Yeah, it is. And because it really is what I want to do. It's like, it's what I want to do. I don't want to be just in this box and working in this office. It's not, I just don't feel like it's what my calling is. I do feel like I definitely went through this to share it with somebody, not to keep to myself. And I do feel like I have a lot of gifts, a lot of talent that I can use not only to make me successful, but to make me more fulfilled because I'm doing something that makes somebody else happy. Even just making a wig and make someone's day, make them feel beautiful. And so those are the things that I like. I always like to take, just the girly things that I like to make somebody else feel good and feel, special, feel good about themselves. So it is what I want to do. I definitely want to take everything that I've gone through to be positive, and I got to get out of this place where I feel like I'm kind of stagnant and kind of fearful to move forward. And I don't know. I guess and I've never been that way. This is something that just happened post me, leaving prison, and I guess it's just because, I don't really have that that monetary support behind me, but it wasn't good anyway. And then you said something that was like monumental when you were like, it feels so much better when you do it on your own. And I used to always say that I think that was one of the reasons why I went through what I went through, is so that no one else could take, can get the glory from whatever I become.
So let me, and all of that's beautiful. All of that's beautiful. So let me ask another question, though. So if the choice was standing in front of you, right, hypothetically speaking, I'm making this up, but hypothetically speaking, if the choice was in front of you and some guy came and said, I will fund this, or you do it yourself, which one would you choose?
Oh, my God. I would say, okay, I'll let you fund this, which is, it's just because I would want to take the easy way out right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now I feel like that's what's holding me back. If I know for a fact that if I was in a better position and, financially at this moment, I would say forget everybody, because I wouldn't want to deal with someone else's attitude, for them saying yes, no, you can have it today, you can't have it tomorrow. I would do it on my own, but I feel like right now the dream seems so far off.
Okay.
For me.
Right, and I don't want you to, this is good. This is good. So, and we'll get there, right? And like I said, I don't want to go slow, but I want to offer you these words, okay?
Okay.
If that happened, there wouldn't be a story to tell. Your story would be, I went to prison for this, and then I got out, and then somebody handed me some cash. Right?
Wow.
There wouldn't be a story to tell.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Do you see what I'm saying? So if you truly believe some of the reasons that you said as far as learning who you are, doing it yourself, and sharing your story, then that's you, right?
Right. Mhm.
Because there wouldn't be a story to tell.
You're absolutely right, because there's nothing to tell about someone else doing it for you. There's no struggle behind it. And I know when I listen to other people's story, that's what empowers me. That's what makes me feel like, okay, if I just focus and if I just put one foot in front of the other, I could be like this woman. So you're absolutely right. Wow, I never even thought of it like that. And if somebody else handed it to me, it's no longer my story, it's their story.
So we could scratch that off the list. If somebody handed it to you, then you sharing your story is not even a reason, right? And you doing it yourself. You doing it yourself, we could scratch that off the list too, because that wouldn't be a part of it either. You know what I mean? So then it'll be learning who you are, then for you to get there and realize that wasn't who you are.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So
good.
It is good.
You're opening my eyes to a lot of my thinking patterns, like how I guess my way of thinking sometimes is warped.
And that's okay, because the one thing that I like to say, and anybody tell you, is I am where I am, and it's okay. Because in order to move forward, you have to become okay with what is.
Right.
Like you cannot move forward if you are regretting or if you're feeling some type of way about where you are. So the general way of saying that is I am where I am, and it's okay. Like, because it is. It has to be, because it's this moment.
Right.
Right?
Mhm.
So one thing I do want to challenge you with, though, I have a challenge for you.
Okay.
I want to challenge you to stay away from the word don't. I don't want you to start a sentence with don't, right? Because you said I don't have, I don't want, I don't feel like.
Okay.
Because what that is that's you focusing on what you don't want. Remember, now I'm navigating again, because when you do that, you're focusing on what you don't want versus what you do want. And it's all here. So what would motivate me if I was standing in your shoes is, this is good. Like, this is good. I'm being you again.
Okay.
No matter what happens, this is part of my story. I get to tell it. Like, it's okay, because everything that happens from this point and to the point that I arrive, it's okay, because I want to be able to share a story. I got out of prison. I got to the point where fear came, and I wasn't even familiar with that. I wasn't familiar with fear. I wasn't familiar with procrastination. I wasn't familiar with all of those things, but I overcame them, right? I even kind of started talking to a life coach, and he opened my eyes. I'm using your words. He opened my eyes to a whole lot of things. And from the moment I started focusing on what I do want versus what I don't want, and when I started doing that, I started to procrastinate less, and I started to make wigs and things for friends. I started to get supplies. I started to get clients to see what I'm doing.
Wow. Yeah. I definitely need to do that. And I truly am gonna work on not saying don't, because now that I'm listening to you, I say that so much. I really do. It's always I can't or I don't, always. And it's like making me reflect on just day-to-day things. I always, well, I don't have this, so I can't do this. It's like they're like hand in hand, and I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be the negative Nancy.
You see what I just? Hold on, I want to press pause because you said I don't. You see what just happened?
Yes.
I don't want to do that. I want to be the negative Nancy instead of saying I want to change. I want to be more positive. You see, so it is a different way to do it.
Wow.
So, because that, honestly, at this point, that's your next level, because that's the only thing that's holding you back from what you want is focusing on, whether it's subconscious or conscious, but again, we are what we are, and it's okay.
Right.
But focusing on the lack of and what you don't want, don't like, don't have, all those things, versus on being grateful for everything that's in front of you.
Right. Wow. Yeah.
Because guess what? I could have still been in prison.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
I'm not. You said I'm, but I'm not. Like, I'm here. So there's so many other things that you could choose to focus on, intentionally, to keep your mind away from the other stuff.
Right. Okay.
So how you feeling? How you feeling right now?
I feel really light. Like, I've kind of let out a little bit of steam, a little bit of stuff that was kind of like building pressure. So it feels good. It really does, to kind of like open up and realize that just my way of thinking, how it could just completely change a sentence. Because when you were being me and you were like, I'm going to do this, it kind of like made me think, wow, like it made me want to do something and want to be better. And when I reflect on how I said the exact same thing you said, but I started it from a negative point, that you're like, oh, girl, just hush. Because I know if it was me and my friend on the phone, I'd be like, oh, here she go again. But then, the way you said it kind of makes me want to get up and just do something. It's definitely a good thing. I mean, I have to work on the way that I say things, and then just kind of focus on the positive. And it's so easy for me to tell other people those things, but applying it to my own walk and my own day-to-day life, I completely forget all of that.
Well, I would say start small because putting yourself out there, right? So what I like business is I like to do something every day. I don't care I don't measure how big or small it is, right? But forward movement to me is always keeping it moving. So I like to do something small every day or something every day. So when I look at your list, because I did write it down, is to put it out there. One day you might want to either start another Instagram for your business, or you might want to use the one that you have. See, that takes 5 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then to maybe go through some photos that you may already have. I'm not sure if you have a portfolio or not, but if you don't, then start building one. All of that stuff. And then you can buy one supply a day, but just that's what keeps me going, is the forward movement part of it. It's like every day is something. I don't care if I went to the dollar store and got $1. You know what I mean? So It doesn't really matter.
Right. Okay.
So when do you think you could, and I'm just going by your list, when do you think you could commit to start putting it out there, whatever that means to you? So when do you think you could?
That's something that I could probably do within a week's time. Like right now, I'm making a wig. It'll be done tonight. So I could take pictures of it, put it on, style it, and that could be my first picture on my Instagram page. That's going to take me 5 minutes to create. So, I mean, yeah. And when you say, you make it seem so easy. So now I'm sitting here like, oh, girl, you've been sitting here all this time not doing nothing at all. It takes one conversation with somebody to be like, wow, this really only takes a few minutes. So why have I just been sitting back not doing it?
But that doesn't matter, right? Because you are where you are. So the why, we don't have to worry about the why, because it doesn't really matter, because you are where you are right now. So all that truly matters is that you move forward from where you are.
Right.
Right. And doing that would get it. So what do you need supplies? What do you need supplies?
Well, I need a few things, but for the most part, what I have is, good to start with. Like, I already have, like heads, styling heads and things like that. So I would just probably need to buy a few caps. As far as the hair goes, people would just send me their hair or whatever, unless they want me to order it from a couple of people that I know that sell virgin hair. I have a few friends that sell virgin hair that I could, network with, probably partner up with them and order hair for people. But starting out, I just wanted to just have people, send me their stuff, priority mail, their hair. I'll have all the caps, threads. Like, I have all of that stuff, big spools of threads, plenty of needles. I have styling heads. So, I just probably need to get what?
Well, I'm laughing, I'm smiling because I feel it, because we started this conversation with lack, and then I'm asking you, and I can't wait till you hear this back, right, because you're going to hear exactly what I'm talking about. So if I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this. So then we're just going down the list, and I'm saying, so what supplies do you need? And you say, well, I don't really need nothing. I got this, I got this, I got this, and I got that. I got all of that, is what you just said, right? I got all of that. So really, I got everything I need, see?
Wow.
You see how that just happened too?
Yes.
But you think you don't have.
Right.
When I ask what you need, you don't need nothing. You got more than enough. See, that's something to be grateful for.
Right. You're right. Wow. I didn't even think of it that way.
It's okay, and I'm just playing back, right? And then you already have the friends, so even if the one that you're doing tonight, if you just want to add fun to it, put it on, take some pictures, and then style it differently and put it on someone else, one of your friends. They may or may not be able to tell it's the same one or not. I'm not really sure about, all of that. I'm just saying, but you still have more than enough. So, right, even in this moment when you thought you didn't have enough, you have more than enough to get this started.
Right. I do.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow. It's just all sinking in right now. Like,
that's okay. I know. I feel it.
Yeah. Wow.
So
this is really awesome. This is really, really awesome. It's been an eye-opener.
Well, good. So you see how really the process is truly reminding you of what you already know and not trying to teach you too much that's different. You see what I'm saying?
Right, right.
And that's what life coaching is, because really I'm just reminding you of what you know, because I didn't, even in all of this, you knew everything. I just kind of used different words and played with all of that good stuff, but I just kind of reminded you.
Wow, right. Wow. Yeah.
Okay, well, this was really, really, really good. It was really good. Yeah. And there is some things that, I'm not sure if you want to move forward or not. You don't have to tell me right now. But there is some things in here that, we could deal with separately, and really just because once you make the flip, it's a matter of, kind of staying in that positive space, of choosing that positive space intentionally versus the negative,
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So how was this for you?
I love it. I feel like it is different from, like, speaking with your girlfriends or your family, people who know you. It's just, I really enjoy it because I feel like because we don't know each other personally, you're just you're being completely honest. There's no reason for you to sugarcoat or, like, try to preserve my feelings or anything like that. So it's easier to, like, be in a place of trust when I'm a very guarded person. I never thought that I would run my mouth as much as I just did because I'm usually very standoffish when it comes to allowing people in my space, So it was very good for me because it was something that I never thought of doing, and something that I never thought I would be good at because I don't like to share very much.